Moving on right now, the debate surrounding vaccine exemptions with schools wrapped up after a 24-hour meeting that wrapped up about an hour ago. A virtual public hearing was held. And again, this is regarding two bills that would eliminate the state's religious exemption from certain vaccinations for school children. Testimony started at 9 o'clock yesterday morning.
And again, it went till 9 o'clock this morning. Fox 61's Angela Bavaro is joining us at the Capitol now in Hartford with the arguments on both sides.
Nearly 2,000 people signed up to speak during this virtual public hearing, but the committee getting through about 430 people before that 24-hour time limit was reached. At the center of this hearing was two controversial bills, and the pair of bills that we're talking about would get rid of the state's current religious exemptions that parents can claim for required school vaccinations. Just a note, though, the COVID-19 vaccine is not on that list of required vaccinations. So during this public hearing, doctors, parents, medical experts, other members of the public all weighing in, opponents arguing that getting rid of the exemption infringes on the religious and parental rights. Meanwhile, supporters of the legislation cite public safety concerns and argue that the religious exemption is being used more like the philosophical exemption Connecticut got rid of years ago. Take a listen.
And I'm here in strong support of House Bill 6423. Those who cannot receive vaccines depend on the immunity of others for protection. Those who are susceptible to an infectious disease are also capable of passing it on to another individual. But those who are vaccinated and immune are much less likely to be able to do so.
And as you probably remember, last year's public hearing on a similar bill drew a large crowd of protesters and lasted nearly 24 hours. But again, this year's hearing has been capped at 24 hours, and that has led opponents to also question why a limited hearing was being held on Zoom. And happening right now, Republican lawmakers on the Public Health Committee are addressing what they're calling concerns with this public hearing process. Reporting at the state capitol, Angelo Bavaro, Fox 61 News.